at least on OBS, I'm seeing the mic aux seems to be jumping as I speak. This stuff's the little bar there, so I'm guessing that we got sound from that. And it looks like as I move the cursor through the menu options right now, I am getting little jumps on that. So let's go ahead. Let's start with well, let's start with the Reforged. Okay. And it looks like I only put a couple in Reforged. I did put a few of them on my little spreadsheet I put together here. I put vanilla with a question mark. This stuff, so I think they're vanilla build, but you know, I'm not entirely 100% sure on that. Yeah. Okay. Now the challenge 12 was, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to do a capital vessel with role play in mind, so that it felt like it had adequate crew quarters, facilities for said crew, um, for that role play effect. Oh, hold on. However, that can be really open to interpretation. Um, takes something like Star Trek. You'll have something like the Enterprise, massive crew, massive ship, that stuff. And then in some of the movies, they'll indicate that and even some of the TV series, occasionally you'd have a massive ship with very minimal, very few crew. The Alien franchise, the stuff you'd have, uh, the very first movie started off with actually a massive ship with a very small crew. So a lot of it's interpretation. So, but it's a mass size class of 10. So a bunch of these are going to be somewhat bigger ships. Stuff. So let's look here. Since I'm starting with the Reforged, which is a little different than what I did last time. Let's. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I just suddenly realized I probably should have put my spreadsheet in an order uh, according to what I was doing here. So Reforged looks like my spreadsheet. Since this is a retake, since I got silence last time, that yeah, I would go see if hold on. I started here well, since I'm doing it in a different order than I was last time, so here we go. We'll start with the, come on, KG-StarLyte-RE, which I'm for Reforged. It is by krosbonez. I'm probably butchering that, but so be it. I can learn of my mistake later. Okay, and we'll throw in here the link to their workshop page. The stuff. So the KG-StarLyte-RE, and okay, which was this one over here. Okay. As I start poking around this, I'm probably going to remember some things about when I was looking at it before. As I said, this is a retake. My first time I went and looked at all these builds. Turned out it recorded it without any sound. So I'm crossing my fingers. There'll be sound recorded this time. It won't just be some sort of visual tour because some of the things I do on my little visual tour probably don't make sense unless you hear me talking and saying, "Oh, that was cool," or my little thoughts about some of the differences and change, the stuff and stuff. Now, I haven't done this around a hangar door here, but this is kind of interesting here. Now, I have done some things around hangar doors. I have you taken advantage of the fact that those are sloped there, so I might come off of my build on my ship and some angle or something like that coming in there, taking advantage that that these do come in a bit. But in this case, they're doing this round here, and then the bit of a what is it? The ramp, and then after the ramp, getting a bit narrow where it gets narrow here, then using the rounded bit here. So it creates a nice effect, stuff going around. But in the shape of the hangar door. See, this over here, this is typically a little more close. I've done some variations and stuff, but that something maybe I've done occasionally on some of my builds at various times and places. So just using the angle there. Okay. Now, when I did on my first tour of these things, and it's one of the okay, there is one of the things I've noticed on stuff where they had gravity, I would turn off God mode and I would just walk around the builds and stuff that way. And but we don't. Apparently, we don't have gravity, artificial gravity here. Now let's make sure we're good on fuel, because this is my second time through these things. Stuff. So I'm not seeing anything to turn on gravity. If I remember correctly, some of these builds did not have this gravity, artificial gravity. Granted, planet size is not a big deal, and as I in my previous video had pointed out, quite often by the time you're in capital vessel and stuff, you also have your spacesuit, so you may be just relying on your jetpack to stuff. Okay. A little service of the fuel tanks, stuff. Access to the fuel. Let's see. On that side, that was the angle there. But again, a bunch of my stuff, the previous video. I know in some videos I've been focusing on the cool shapes on the outside, and there are some cool shapes going on some of these on the outside. But I guess because the challenge was about the roleplay element, this is where I was like, oh, I ended up getting focused on that on my previous video, and that's where as I toured these things, and the fact that it didn't record any sound, I'm like, well, like for example here, I love their use of the how they did this table up here. I'm like, the table I'm familiar with, and I've used it occasionally in some of my builds, but I never thought to use some LCD work to make it look like a checker or chessboard here. So I was like, oh, that is wonderful, awesome. And I said, if I remember, and I said that if I remember, because I forget things plenty, I would that's something I would totally steal. Chances are, most likely, what I'm going to end up doing is sometime in the point, I'm like putting down a table, and I'm thinking, I really like that to be a gaming table, and I will remember seeing something similar to this. I won't remember what build or where I saw it, this stuff. So then I'll end up recreating it myself, or something, my own interpretation of based off of that, being inspired by this really kind of cool gaming table. When you're talking about roleplay elements, we have our nice dining area. Some dining, entertainment, stuff. So you got to kind of really a little role play stuff going on here, a news feed, and stuff. Now, granted, I did go through and I still explored stuff like here. You'd have your core room, stuff. We have our bedroom for some of our crew here. I remember admiring some of the LCD work here. Lots of beautiful LCD work here. I remember here saying that something to the fact that I've used this console before, but I don't think I've ever put additional work up above it, and so and especially you see these flat black block behind it really helps that stand out, make it look like it's part of this console here. So it makes it real kind of pulls it in by using that flat black there, and I thought that was a very good decision. So, and I admire some of the LCD work here. Enjoying very much a lot of some very good LCD work through this. So, and if we go back down, if we go down here, the other side we had kind of like more of our role play elements. Granted, LCD work does add some, little warnings and stuff like that. And but here we have our boarding ramp. Last time I gotten so used to people putting these on some sort of motion sensor or something that kind of threw me off. I seem to recall that one of these builds, and it might have been this one, you had to actually simply click on the boarding ramp. I mean, it's really simple, really easy to do the boarding ramp. Click on it and stuff. But I just gotten so spoiled, I'd say. People putting on a motion sensor, and so I haven't had to really think about it. But just a little loop around there. We had some sleeping quarters, a little dining nook, and entertainment. So nice little some role play elements there. So some beautiful texture and work with our pipes and so forth. Love these engine pods here. The stuff gives me a little bit of that I'd say Star Trek feel. The way they with those pods there off to the side. But the KG-StarLyte-RE, I guess is that. I'm so tempted to say KG-StarLyte Reforged, but it's the RE. Okay, and this one I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. Djong, Djong. I'm not sure stuff, but it's they referred to it also as the rusty old boat stuff. So if I can properly tab between my windows here, the rusty old boat, and this is by Noob. Hold on, tabbing to the wrong window. Back to the comments here, the chat window, so people can see the links to these here stuff. And the this rusty old boat. I've really loved, and this is something I said in the other chat, because we were, again, a lot of this challenge was the role play for the interior design and putting that role play element in the builds. So a bunch of these, not necessarily all of them, but quite a few of them had some very good reads on their workshop page, typically on it. Although some of them, when entering them into the challenge in the thread or the official forums for Empyrean, where there was they have a section player submitted challenges and stuff, and so this challenge was also submitted there. So some of these entries are pulled from there, and so some of them did between the various places where they were entered. Either on the workshop, there was some really nice backstory type stuff with them, or some very interesting stories and reads in where they were submitted. that might have actually, in that case, may have been referring to some of the story of their use of it. So now, if we go here, I'm going to point out, I didn't point out in my previous bid, but I'll point it out here. How they're using the angled wall blocks, and then they're just using that small little piece in here to create the smooth transition. But in this case, it allows them to also stick in a small texture there of the for the glow, so it works out nicely that way. But yeah, the rusty old boat here has some nice asymmetry going on with it, and with their backstory of what it was. For the backstory, the fact that they've included a bunch of rust through here, giving it a good weathered appearance, and so I thought that made it's kind of went nicely with the story. Okay, we have gravity here. Okay, so we have access here, O2 station. Oh, I seem to recall this one, if I remember correctly. There's entrance there and there that give you access to this SV pad, or so. But then you actually through the ladders and the stuff, you can wander back through the ship. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so a nice view, some walkers. Goes up on the wall. So far, this is looking like a just a standard utilitarian room here. We got stairs down here. Let's go back, because this is where we just came from over here, or in salvage. And there's some nice textures and piping and decorative work going on here. Okay. Okay. I mean, there is some beautiful design, and as I said, the fact, the little backstory about the rusty old boat really kind of adds some atmosphere to the design, and seeing the design kind of really carry that through and stuff. So we got some signal work. There's our gravity generator. Okay, what's over here? I'm trying to remember. I know some of it's going to look familiar to me. Oh yeah, I remember liking the way they did this hallway, that it actually came up here and creates that, because I've seen many people use kind of some sort of arch effect, repeating arches through, but the fact that it comes up here and this extends down here in the middle, kind of like a ventilation system, a nice grate there, like typical movie vents stuff. Then we have our dining area. Again, it's looking very, very weathered. This isn't some new little boat here. This is the rusty old boat. So yeah, our dining facility. And looks like we have our shower and probably toilet, and some basic sleeping some bunk beds for the crew, sleep. Looks like if you got, if necessary, you can throw a couple crew on the couch to sleep. Although I am guessing that's more for lounging and relaxation. Okay, so where are we? Okay, going from engineering, we're going to go forward here. No oxygen beyond this point. Just in case. But here's our O2 station. They're not the only one here in this build using some of these deco stuff sideways. And I was looking at this, and it makes me think of some sort of seating. Even though since this is not actual seats, these are kind of like chests mounted to the tool chests or something of that sort, with drawers and that mounted to the typically mounted to a wall. But having them on the side here makes it look a little bit like seats with buckles and stuff. Now, I admit I've used these things turned upside down or something like that. So, but this, to putting it on the side, it's not something I had ever thought of. So that the fact that they did this, and I said they're not the only ones who did it. There's one that used a very similar deco. Looks a little more like actually like a bench than an individual seat. And we have a class 4.06 freight and salvage, auto thruster system available, enter cockpit area to enable thruster use. This I remember this now. I remember being confused by this a little bit, because you come up here and it's thruster status online, and it currently says thruster status online. And I want to say that when I first, but the thing is, I check here and the thrusters are off. So, but if I get out of the seat and stuff, well, the thrusters are still off right now. It just really kind of really peculiar behavior. If I go here, thrusters are on. So I feel like there's that the thrusters and that stuff are on a motion sensor. Part of the problem I have with that is that what you could end up having, now the thrusters are on this time. Yeah, when you're dealing with the cockpit and motion sensors, sometimes it doesn't seem to act quite right. I've occasionally noticed this with some of my capital vessels where the interior lights are on the motion sensor, and so I will sit in the cockpit, I'll fly around a bit or something, I'll get out of the cockpit, and my lights stay off. It just, I don't know what it is with sitting down in the cockpit. I do know that sitting down in the cockpit, you no longer throw the motion sensor. But when you're getting out, then things behave sometimes irregularly. Doesn't make any sense to me sometimes. And in this case, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the thrusters being on the motion sensor, because yes, it's kind of cool that if you get up here, they turn on, or they're supposed to turn on, I guess. Or does it they turn off here and then they're supposed to turn on when you're in the seat because you're no longer tripping the motion sensor? I don't know. But I did notice that before, and it could be just a glitch just spawning into my game. I don't know. Maybe it just it glitched and therefore just behaving irregularly and stuff. Oh, I loved here again. Well, again, for me, it's again for you hearing this. Other than if someone watched my silent video, they probably might have saw that I paid some attention to this, but it was a silent video. I'm hoping it's not going to be the same again. Yeah, the fact that I came down here, I saw that, it was kind of cool and enjoyable, And this time, second time seeing it, I'm looking at it going, sudo override initial warp systems online. I'm like, Linux, anybody? Unix, Linux? My experience is more of the Linux stuff, but I'm like, yeah. I caught the other part, and I thought it was interesting about the CPU 1, 2, the stuff, all of the, active and error and that stuff. It was kind of cool and interesting, but then just seeing that down there, I'm like, oh, yep, yeah, that looks like maybe not commands I use on the servers I work on, but definitely does make me think of that a little bit. Okay, so that was the 2 reforged entries and stuff, and it could just be I don't know. Maybe when they created it, it worked just fine for the motion sensors and the thrusters, and just spawning it in as irregular behavior. Oh, this is definitely worked kind of cool here. The motion sensor with the teleporter. I've only just started recently trying to use something like this myself, and stuff. But yeah, the teleporter on a motion sensor, and they even have little instructions over there. Stand on telepad to operate, and it turns on. And go ahead, use your teleporter. So okay, I think that gets us 2 reforged builds. Okay. Oh yes, and this is about onto the SD pad. Okay, yeah. So I think very nice design. As I said, I was tending to focus more on the RP elements in these things, so I was looking at them. And as I said, I mentioned that the workshop entries for these, some of them had some very nice little backstories for their builds, which is kind of enjoyable. So I'm going to recommend you go to the workshop pages. I'm at the moment, I'm not going to go try to figure out which ones have the stories, which ones don't. But I will tell you that some of them have some good stories. Just go ahead, go to the workshop pages, enjoy the little backstories that go with their capital vessels. So, okay, so let's see. Then, so if I'm done here, we're going to go to the resume game. Good thing I hadn't deleted these games yet. Quite often I won't. I admit after I've done the previews, I might delete them. These games, because I clean up my instead of having a big huge list of old games here. It's not uncommon. I clean them up. My creative game, as it gets cluttered, I'll save all my blueprints and then I'll create a new one. Stuff. So it's not uncommon for me to clean these up. So I'm when I discovered that the things were silent, internal error, please insert it. I don't. Hello. Yeah. That's okay. My computer's not that slow, so I guess I am going to kill Empyrean. You're going to be stuck with black for a little bit. Well, I go ahead and relaunch Empyrean. I'll see if I can actually get into that save. Either that, or I guess I'm creating a new save and cleaning it up. Come on, resume game, vanilla. I did click the right one. I hope I did. I'll find out in just a moment. If there's a line of spaceships in space, capital vessels in space, that look like the submissions from the challenge, then I've gone into the right creative game, and we will start looking at those. there in vanilla. Okay. Come on. It looks like our selection. So, okay. There is no gravity on mine. Okay. So we're going to, this is the FRK EOSTRIX. Let's see, and it helps if I tab to the right one to go ahead and add that to the chat. And this is, and it's that HD. I want to say that I read the description somewhere. I can't remember if it was the workshop or if it was the submission, where they, it was like my inclination. My first thought was high definition. Like that's just probably because of working with electronics and that sort of stuff. And my hobby, my work makes me think default to electronics sometimes. But in this case, this is by NiagaraWarrior. That actually is for heavy destroyer. And so I made a note of that in my spreadsheet because. Okay, and let's get the link to that workshop. My mic has static sound. Cap, sorry. Okay. Wonder. I don't remember pulling on my my headset. Reminds you of a loose cord. I'm wondering if I have some sort of loose cord going on. I used to have my mic, it's actually a headset with a mic. The stuff. I used to have it plugged into the front ports on my PC, but I was losing my sound. It was getting some static and this stuff. Made me think of a loose cord. I plugged into the back of my PC and I got clean sound from back there, but that doesn't necessarily. If someone had tugged on my on the jacks, messed that up, it could be that maybe something happened. I may have to think about replacing this headset. So, as I said, for the sound mic, it started getting clean sound if I put it on this stuff. But that's, that's the. There's two separate jacks. One for out to the headset, and the other one into the for the mic. So it's possible that maybe one of my front ports got damaged and stuff, because that's my guess is what happened there. But it could be that maybe if something happened, that's maybe the jack for the comes through clear, but there's a static fuzz sound. Yeah, that's how I describe what I was getting when I was listening to my sound. It was clear as far as the sound, but there was a static fuzz. It was like an extra buzz, stuff like noise that was being added. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay. I did get the link there for the NiagaraWarriors, their stuff. So let's see. One of the things here, I noticed this one. We talk about roleplay elements, but since I'm coming back and doing this again, a bunch of these have run out of fuel in the meantime because a bunch of them I didn't fill up. I didn't anticipate they'd be running long enough to be a concern. But again, in this case, they have the Frac Corp, Your Future is Our Business. Basically, this is like a sales placard, and they even say, remove tack after delivery to owners. So it's this little role play element is as if this is you got out and this is being delivered to the owner, to you that have purchased their capital vessel. So, and so you know, then we have our nice side entry here. I know you can't actually stand on a force field, but that's not actually in this case. It's a ramp. So it gives you a nice ramp that you pull up, and I guess alongside another vessel. And you extend your ramp and stuff. It almost makes me think it'd be nice if there was like some sort of airtight tunnel that you could extend out and do you know, connection that way. But a ramp, stuff within the game, that's you know, quite the thing, you know, definitely. So do I want to enter from there? We got some nice mounts of the weapons and thrusters. So using some deco elements on the outside. So I don't remember if I ever found a switch for that from the inside. I don't remember, but this is gives you a view out this way. So our hangar door here. Okay, we've got gravity. And our O2 into elevators. Oh yeah, I remember I went and looked down here. Little switch there for access, and there's a generator down there. We'll just close it back up. Same thing on the other side. It's kind of mirrored to over to the other side there. So you have your little room here. We continue along. This is a pass-through hangar, front to back stuff. We have our ladder. So we have this is echoing along here. So, and so we have another elevator there. And do I have to go out to go into the elevator? Maybe. Okay. Oh, we have a bathroom here. If we talk about our role play elements, stuff. I wonder if there's another wash facilities over here. Squeezing in that shower. In that space there. Okay. Here we are, second level. We're looking out over the hangar. Into our service area. It's a tunnel up there, and then open walkways. So, okay. Oh yeah, and I want to say that they actually mentioned somewhere, and I don't remember where I saw it, that there was expansion, possibility expansion to built into the CV areas that you could customize and build out your own. Oh, it might be on a motion sensor. Maybe you want a motion sensor that opens up that. But I'm not sure. And of course, now the door is closed, so I can't tell. I would have to God mode and see if it would, or go try to find that motion sensor and see where it is connected. Okay. Yes, I remember this upper area before. Very good. A lot of space here that you could definitely build in and customize as you see fit. Oh, and access to the gravity and warp drive. I'm tempted to okay. Command. Oh, I think it's probably on the other side of this. Okay. I am. It might be just on the, if they have the lights on, internal lights on motion sensor, it might be just on that. So maybe as long as someone's inside and moving around, maybe that's sufficient to. Okay. Okay. So where was that door again? I came up through a. Okay, it's right there. Okay. Get over to the other side. So this is looking very rough and that stuff, but again, it's future expansion they planned for, and yeah. So let's see. I think I haven't found the crew quarters yet, but. Oh, come on. That's that lounge. That's this. I've been here already. Where was it? I want to say that there was. I just. Why am I not? Why am I? Where was it? In God mode, just cheat my way through this for a moment. Oh yes, there we go. We have an airtight tunnel over here to our extending ramp. I know, and this interesting door stuff I discovered in a previous. It took me a bit to realize that that door sideways you can get in and out of it. I want to say there's that's a security that they had a. Yep, there it is. The sentry guns on a motion sensor inside the vessel. So you have your port airlock, starboard airlock. You have a mess hall here, because we got a very beautiful and nice mess hall. We have our entertainment, like in some of our other builds. We have some LCD art going on, some really nice LCD art. Really nice kitchen done up here. Oh, I hadn't paid attention before. Those up there on top of that makes me think of microwaves or ovens or something like that up there. But yeah, and then using this deco over here, on that here ends up looking like a nice backsplash, but on the wall around here ends up carrying that through, and looks surprisingly good. Okay. And this would be your pantry with some fridges in there. Okay. And here we go. We have some quarters, some sleeping quarters, officers' quarters. We got our vent set up there for our medical. And I was trying to say, and I was getting a little more stumped there. So some of that stuff there is probably for airflow. The stuff, this is, you don't see a ventilator in here clearly showing, so that's probably your airflow, and that tunnel there is associated with that. Ah, nice. Mm-hmm. So sick bay, galley, officers' quarters, captain's quarters. I think there might have been some additional, just some very plain bunk rooms, just so definitely definitely the impression that a fair-sized crew may be living on this vessel. Okay, and let's go into command. Intruder detected. Deck 3 bow. Bridge, captain's office, solar cartography, security office. I'm thinking that's where I am right now, is the security office. Oh yeah, I want to say previously. I'm not sure if that was NiagaraWarrior on a previous stream. Afterwards, they had said that they had a security room, and you could actually monitoring the LCDs know which part of the ship people were in, and so I wouldn't be the least bit surprised that this is another security room in that venue that through the motion sensors that are throughout the ship, that you can then get a feel for where someone is or where people are at all times. So okay, that's yeah. I have to go to the security room. Here we go. We can pilot the capital vessel from there. Oh, is that rust texture with blue to create the effect of a and a couple spheres to create a globe? Yeah, I have. And then you have this around here. Yeah. That is well done, if that's what I think it is. Okay, now the direction your seat is facing is important for controlling a vessel. That is the direction you will be forward while you're controlling it. Come on. So this seat is these seats are facing this way. That's where feels like which way would be forward on the vessel. Well, that's interesting. Is this like a captain's office? If you're getting your interview there, you can actually pilot the vessel from here. But all those consoles, all those cockpits, those different models of cockpits, captain's chair and stuff, they're all facing that way. But this one over here is actually facing the other way. Now I like how this chair works with that there stuff. But yeah, that is this is facing that way. So I hadn't given it much thought. So I'm going to God mode, poke out here. I mean, it has decent thrust going the other way. I mean, that makes me wonder if there's settings that they use this in where going the other way has some advantage. or if that's just about blowing someone's mind and confusing them as you fly your ship backwards. Mind games. I don't know. Okay. Now the next one here I have the Celeste military research vessel, vanilla. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Tabbing to the wrong stuff. And this is by Regnar. And come on. And here's a link to this page. Once I tab to the right place to add to the chat. Let's see. Okay. So this one, when I was first looking at it, I noticed a few things about it, but it didn't quite catch the first time I was looking at it. Quite the... now, internally, there's an asymmetry going on. But we'll get to that here in a bit. But on the outside, the one side's painted blue, the other side's orange, but it's actually this thing. It's got two bridges, one this way, one the other way, stuff. So it really is this military research vessel. I'm not sure you can really say there's a true front or back to this thing. Now maybe there is a true front or back to the vessel, but with the symmetry from side to side and the symmetry front to back, there is definitely quite a bit of symmetry going on in here on the outside. One of the things I had noticed here is these pods here made me wonder if they were designed at some point for even more thrusters than what's being seen. Stuff. It's just a curiosity, little thought that popped in my head. CPU statistics, we're pushing the edge of tier 4, so to have more thrusters in there, you're going to need some sort of advanced CPU to an advanced core or some sort of I know in Reforged you can get various there are several ways to extend your CPU. Although the system's a bit different, they don't actually have the same tiers as we do in vanilla. But in vanilla, I'm like, I know there's an advanced core that allows you to basically eliminate CPU limitations, but I can't remember if there were other advanced CPU extensions. Let's see, if I go here, click on this, click on that. Okay, we can do the core. There's our advanced core. And MPC core, tier 4. If there's something else, I can't think of it off the top of my head here in vanilla. So it looks like it would just be you need to be, if you're going to go push beyond extending the thrust on here, you probably need to be an advanced core. Okay, so we have the symmetry going on, the orange side, blue side. So there's going to be an orange bridge, a blue bridge. We'll start by entering the hangar down here. This thing's out of fuel. There we go. Power it up, and we've got artificial gravity. Okay, we have a ramp. And since the ramp only goes one way, but is that really pointing to the front or the back of the ship? Which way is the ramp really stuck? Okay, and now we have down here, we have a nice good elevator shafts. Those are going to take us up into where we have crew living quarters. It was very interesting living quarters on this thing. stuff. Quite a bit different than I've seen on a number of other builds. So I'd really like to take a look at that. But over here, what we got is we have our stairs up here. Come on. And so we have, again, we're going to have our orange side, our blue side. They're pretty much, for the most part, mirrors of each other's, if I remember correctly. And so we come in here, a bunch of our thrusters, Jenny, stuff. So yeah, there's stuff. And the orange side is pretty much the mirror of this. And if I remember correctly, the other side pods is you get the same thing going on as well. Okay, let's go ahead and okay, if I had the jetpack turned on, I could have done a jump and stuff. You know, now in vanilla, the crew do not add CPU, so in this case, you know, we're not. They didn't violate this case, you know, as far as vanilla goes, since they don't add any CPU. They're really not changing the CPU of this thing, having some crew here, but it does add to the role play. It does make it feel like, you know, people live and serve on this vessel. Again, we have more mechanics up here, but the part that stood out, you know, that stood out to me is that we had the multi-stair arrangement here. The stairs staggered a little bit, stuff which was kind of interesting, and then the fact that we were actually standing on glass, looking down over the area below. So then we, you know, come down here. I like their use of this texture for the lighting here. Of course, textures, you know, they don't really add significant lighting. They just, you know, add the appearance of the orange side, blue side. Okay, which carries through up here. We might skip that for a moment. We might go up here. Okay. Wait a minute. No, that's right. That takes us to our top deck. What I really want to show you is go here. They had your conference room orange, cockpit access, emergency cockpit, cockpit access, emergency cockpit. This is actually, even though they are diagonal here, if you would take that one side of the ship, and this is maybe what they did, is they might have crafted one side of the ship and then did a copy of that, rotated it, and then pasted that that copy right off the right to the back of the other one, and then you would get these diagonal here. Now there is some asymmetry going on the inside here, stuff, so that if they had done that, they definitely went back and made some changes. Now the orange cock control, this captain's chair or whatever, this pointing that way, all the orange side controls. And again, we have another cockpit to control it from, some LCD work stuff. So again, in this case, it helps provide your role play element here. I seem to recall seeing some sort of a pilot's waiting room, or I'm not sure what it would be, but they have some facilities up here for your pilots or your command crew stuff. Not very fancy, not elaborate. Then we come up here into the actual the bridge we're seeing from the outside. A whole bunch of consoles and controls here. You have your pilot seat, captain's chair, and stuff. Another pilot's seat, stuff. But we really get the another stuff. So multiple going on, but they add to this feel of this command room and stuff. You know, the interesting here with the LCD work. Of course, they're saying artificial gravity off. I want to say that it actually, when I first came into this vessel and I was poking around and looking at it, I was like, oh, this this vessel doesn't have any artificial gravity. But then I found, I want to say I found it and turned it on. I want to say that when I brought it in, it actually was off. But I found it, turned it on, and then it was artificial gravity. So for me coming back and revisiting this, well, it's actually my second time seeing this vessel. So now the blue side, all the cockpits, control interfaces are facing this opposite direction. So from here, there, and if we go down the corresponding here, these are all facing this opposite direction. Notice that they actually gave it a different LCD screen over here. It was I like that little touch there. But these are all facing the other way. Okay. Now we have the grow area here. Now they're not listing out any specific recipes. At least I don't recall seeing any specific recipes laid out here, but they do seem to be 6, 4. I didn't count that up last time. So they got 10, 12, 14, 18, 24, 28, 30, 36 stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 36. Looks like it actually is defining out, and this stuff. And if I was in their situation, and this is what I mentioned when I paused here or focused on this a little bit when I went through it the first time, is that if I was in this situation, I'm probably not going to list out the recipes, this many plants and this many stuff to make this certain item. What I'm probably going to do is do something similar. If I was giving myself some sort of cheat sheet, I'd probably do a cheat sheet like this one. This is the stuff to grow to make the things I want to typically make. Between the food rations to medical supplies, I would be listing out stuff. So like the aloe vera makes me think that this is including some medical supplies in this recipe. Exactly what. Now this is something I noticed previously when I was through here, and it took me a bit to realize what was going on. I actually found a spot that if I stood in a certain spot, I would be outside the motion sensors, so that all shut off, and then it connected to me what was going on. That we actually have, they had put together a sphere with the texture on it, painted, nice glow texture. So we get the glowing sphere, and then the LCD projections of the artwork on the projections for the rings, and then you get this really nice effect going on. And so then it, with the glowing texture on that, it at least from my perspective, when I look at it, it does make it look like it's all one hollow projection, one big projection there. We have some seating here and stuff. So this, okay. We have engineering, and if I remember correctly, like some of the other stuff, that I want to say the engineering may be some mirror type effects going on. Well, some of these items are actually only one per vessel, so I don't think you're going to see them mirrored so much. But we have engineering over here and stuff, and two gravity generators there. I'm thinking that's probably that 10 and 2 gravity generators is probably the symmetry going on. That'd be my guess. If we go past into the blue section here, okay. Now this is where some of the stuff we don't get symmetry going on. Okay. Now your food alcoves, orange and blue stuff. So that's that is symmetry going on. You had your conference rooms stuff, and the elevators. There was some symmetry involved in there. More food alcoves similar to that on the other side. So that is symmetry. However, this is not symmetrical. You have your R&R, a nice lounge in here, a really really nice lounge. So this stuff. This is not symmetrical with the other side. This area where they have the production with the constructors is not repeated over on the other side, as far as I can recall. The med bay is only on this side, so that we have on the blue side. Again, see, we have the grow area over on the orange side. We have a nice R&R and the stuff. Now, one of the things here we go, let's see if I can find the right spot to get out. So we have their engineering. So if we go take this little elevator up here.
I see your mom come down here.
Nope. My wife did not come down here. At least, or maybe she's in the laundry room. I don't know. Maybe she's in there. But here we have our crew areas here. And we have, some communal showers. This actually happens to go all the way through to the other side and stuff. Nice bathroom here. This stuff. But these small living quarters, small bathrooms, small living quarters. But some of this stuff here, another, a more extensive bathroom, shower facility going through. You're taking advantage of the gaps in the blocks. In fact, what they're doing is they're using this wall block on this side, comes slightly into the room a little bit, gives the room a little more shape along there, but then gives us a gap for us to run a little hallway back for that shower facility. Now over here on this side we give some more sleeping, more rooms for crew, facilities that way, stuff. So it really feels like this have quite a bit of crew facilities here. This is actually echoed on the top of the blue side as well, if I remember correctly. And so you got the symmetry going on that way as far as now the thought that occurred to me as I was preparing to show this again for a second time, going through this time hopefully being heard, it made me think of some of the sci-fi shows that I kind of, it gives me the impression of some of them where the apartments are beat up, they're stacked on top of each other, and this stuff. Now these are looking really clean, really nice, and stuff. So this makes me think, this is what maybe they looked like before they got it beat up and worn and this stuff. But in this case, it's on a capital vessel. This isn't some space station or moon base or something like that. This is a capital vessel with those facilities and stuff. So there is the bunch of strong symmetry going on, but there is also some of the internal here, some asymmetry. And if we come over here to the blue side, as I said, again we have some engineering over here, just like a bunch of the stuff. There is symmetry between the orange and the blue sides. But again, here we go. We have these crew facilities running through here. So there's quite the crew on this research vessel. So, and a lot of for gameplay functions, a lot of from your being able to produce stuff to your engineering stuff. But I just some of the for the role play aspects, definitely quite a bit of crew, nice R&R stuff. So it just, I really enjoyed touring this and catching some of the symmetry going on that was in stuff, and taking here like some of the LCD work projections that they add to the hangar doors. And this is one of those things I would have I mentioned in the first video. When I observed these things, I was like, is that, you know, it is observation of those LCDs on the doors. Okay, so we started off there. Yeah, the Celeste. Okay, then the next is the ZeroG Jan 2021 underscore UF. Okay, let's see. And this here, I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but this is by Celeste Decor, and this was actually an EPB file on submitted to ZeroG. So if I cross my fingers, maybe this link will take you to the appropriate entry on the ZeroG Discord. I'm not sure how that will work. I'm currently a member of the ZeroG, one of the participants there on the on the Discord there. So if I were to click it, it's probably going to take me right where I think it should. I'm not sure how it's going to work for those who may not be previously participating in ZeroG. And this is that does not include the invite. I probably should go grab an invite for ZeroG. Okay, so let's go to ZeroG. I'm thinking about it. Go here. Click on the ZeroG Discord. Challenge submission, and we're going to go ahead and create an invite. Invite friends to fetching your friends list, or send a server invite link to a friend. Well, how do I know I know where I can go to my Discord page and stuff. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I included invites there for both ZeroG and the Anvil, Excalibur's Anvil. And so, but in this case we're looking at the stuff from the ZeroG, and yes, it tells me that I've joined ZeroG. Yes, I know that, but I'm just grabbing the link. Let's see if we navigate back to over here. I'll just put here ZeroG Discord invite. Okay, so go join the ZeroG stuff. And as I said, this next one is a EPB file. You'd have to go find it on the challenge submissions, and from there you should be able to download it. You'll have to stick it in the right folder, stuff. But once you have it in the correct folder, it'll be available as a local blueprint. Okay. Let's see. looks like it's run out of power while I've been going and touring the other vessels. This is if I remember correctly, a work in progress. I believe, as I'm looking at this here, SV 7 wide, 3 high. The size class 10 max, that was probably a self note for building these things to keep it to a size class 10 maximum, because that was one of the stated ambitions of this challenge, is to keep builds under size, not to exceed size class 10, which is not a statement of how big they are, but it could be how detailed, balance between detail and scale. And since we're doing a bunch of role play elements, well, detail can certainly be escalate real fast, consuming CPU. Okay. Now I am remembering viewing this as vessel before. So we had a lot of just plain gray going on. Stuff. It is a work in progress. We do have gravity here, so I'll just explore it. Stuff. I thought it was interesting here. Stuff, and I want to say that this, the fact that we got this this little lookout over here with a railing on the space vessel. Granted, if once you're in atmosphere on a planet, our railing around here, this stuff. This made me think of a much more massive power plant stuff. Having this going on here, we have our shield, our fuel tanks, stuff. So I was just kind of admiring some of the construction here going on. Stuff. A very large generator. So up there, as it looks like making the visual impression of a large power plant. Here is our actual large power plant. Stuff for game wise. Our gravity generator. I thought it was interesting how we have the upside down railing around here. These curved grates, giving it some just some enclosure and giving it some look and feel here. Stuff. Looking down over, little walkways. Got a view down and out. Got our hangar here. I love using this, making it look like it's an actual crane holding a cargo box, stuff. So, and then I want to say that this did nothing, but I'm guessing that once this is more completed, that would be a signal to open it up, open and close that area, making it look like you would then use this crane to raise and lower things in and out of the vessel. I think it's also interesting. Okay. That was. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, this one. We're dealing with the armored door, and it's with some of these ramps. You'd even see it sometimes the stairs at the base of the armored door would stick out a little bit, and might get a little confusing for getting in and out. You might have to. Sometimes you have to do a little jump to clear. Ah, that's nice. Okay. Okay. One of the things, with this going on here, it may not be readily apparent from the outside of the vessel, but this is not actually an asymmetrical build. There is a lot of apparent symmetry from the outside, and there is some symmetry from the outside, but there are definitely signs that you know, this is not a symmetrical build, and it so, okay, I'm not sure what this will eventually. There are and we have our rear hanger stuff. There stuff. Let's go. Let's take the elevator up. Overlook our rear hanger here. I'm guessing that I'm not sure what these are being reserved for, but my guess is that these are blocks that may be reserving the space for some future. You know, it's like as I continue building this, the advantage of using the truss blocks, if you're reserving for putting in other devices, other stuff in there, is the especially when you're trying to keep it to like a size class 10. Truss blocks count against your size class. So, you know, it'd be one of those things. Okay, I'm going to throw some trusses in here. That's reserving the space as I work on it. And if anything's going to happen, the size class may drop as I replace the truss blocks, as opposed to going up. Stuff. So I can, you know, I could be throwing some truss blocks in there, reserving some space, so I don't accidentally build stuff in there that I didn't want to, accidentally filling it in with you know, very structural blocks, and then I find you know, like, well, what happened to my space to build that container or build that the extensions on that container or stuff. I'd have to I'd follow the truss box through to try to even guess, and I'd only be guessing of what the truss box might be reserving. But the fact that this, you know, looks like they just go right down there, come up here, around. That's let's see, that would be a container about 3,200, if that's a container going to be going into the space. Or it could be something else. And the thing is, it could be connected to, because I also use truss blocks to reserve space, that they're attached to off of a container. So I'm like, well, if I replace those truss blocks, my container grows by that, you know, in that case, 3,200 stuff. So then the truss blocks hold, you know, for the size class. And then later, when I have the CPU, I actually then expand the vessel. We have our a med station, a little grow plot. So we have a med station for our role play stuff. I want to say that there were crew quarters here, but I don't. This looks like it could be future crew quarters. This stuff. We have our command bridge. But the question is, am I confusing this with another build? Or maybe it's something in the midsection that I failed to, because I have explored these before, so it might have been something. Let me go back into this middle section. Maybe there was something there I am missing this time around. Okay, that's the lower exit. That's up to that cot block there. That's forward. Okay. Feel like I'm missing something, but can't place it. This could be a nice lounge or a some sort of master suite, you know, maybe stuff. Yeah, I'm going to guess that that nice big area could be a nice cafe, lounge, entertainment, or something of that regards. And then those other two rooms could be your some living quarters. You know, throw some bunks in there, and so let's see. But this is an unfinished build. It was nice to look at it. There is some beautiful texture work going on here. Haven't been devoted much to the texture work of these builds. As I said, the challenge was mentioning maximum size class 10, but to build for the role play. And so I on my first run through of these things, I was tended to be focused on that, and I'm trying to kind of giving you the best I can, capturing what I second run through to capture some of those that same feel for these vessels. But you can see some beautiful texture work going on. Well, I wouldn't say texture work, shape work going on, and adding some of the deco elements, working through this real nicely on this build. And did I get us up to the bridge? Maybe that's my mistake. Maybe that's where I'm. Okay, I remember these small rooms. I probably just didn't take us all the way up to the bridge. And see, I mentioned on the other one, that someone else, that they ended up looking more like benches. They'd taken the deco element and sticking it on its side. Here we go. Stuff. So, and then in this case, flipping it outside, putting you behind it, so it looks similar to some sort of console. Maybe especially if you were to throw some LCD projector projection over that at an angle, stuff, it would really pop as some sort of space age console. Okay. Now here we have quite the barge. A lot of the firepower focused at the front. So it looks like it's really meant to bring a lot of firepower at the front, so that most of your vessels far back from the conflict as possible, and probably keeping the front harassing the enemy. Okay, and this is the Charvac. Why don't I go ahead and, before I forget, grab the link for the so go post this in the chat. Charvac by Woo Woo. Sorry, I know that's a very lame cheer from me, but that so if I see that, and I can't help but think like a cheer, hooray, hooray, woo woo. So okay, come on. Tab to the right place. Stick in the link to the Steam to the workshop page. Okay. Now let's go see what I can remember about the Charvac and explore stuff. So the Charvac, we got that. Definitely a bit of a barge effect going on. Ah, yes, the lower and upper command decks. Very interesting. Upper and lower command decks. I'm beginning to think this is because I hadn't seen it in the other ones yet, and I was thinking that recalling that one of them had some really nice storage areas front and back. Okay, still got plenty of fuel at the moment. So let's turn off the God mode. So using gravity, artificial gravity. So I have quite the storage area here. There's walkways through the other levels that we can access out into here. in this case a ladder brings me up. But if we go over here, I want to say that there's a door stuff, so we actually have access out into the rest upper levels of the ship stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here. The other side, pretty much the same thing stuff going on. We have ladders all going all the way up to that upper level there, and stuff. We have a central elevator here. Go down into our lower bridge. I want to say that we should be able to take us all the way up to the upper bridge. Oh, and like some of the other stuff, some interesting LCD work going on in front of the, take a seat and enjoy the LCD projection stuff. Then we have over here, we have our O2, a shower stuff, so we have access to the top of the barge, an airlock of sorts there. So if you had parked your SV on top of the, the flat surface, access to the lower. Oops. Turned off God mode. I can take myself a nice fall. Thanks to gravity. Gravity works. Okay, let's go here. Now this you have through that central elevator, we have access to, we have a bunch of cryo chambers, med bay, and a hall. This, if I remember correctly, this was the lower hallway that led to the two hangars stuff. Go back to our central elevator. Okay, wait a minute. That was the med chamber. Is this, are they doing experiments in here, or is that what's going on? Strange plants, more cryos, just like this. The walkway in the center, but the central elevator here. I'm going to come up here to our CPU engineering stuff. We've got our generators, our constructors. We even have an offline protection shield. Right now it's not on. If it was on, those should be spinning, if I remember correctly. But right now, while they're parked, it does make an interesting effect that they're parked right at these locations here. So this really kind of works with it nicely there that way. So then we have our CPU extenders, warp drive. Give the effects of like a whole electronics bank, computing core, warp drive, kind of hiding behind that. Okay. Okay. And now here we have our a dining room, bedroom. Might look at those hallways in just a moment, because it's going to be the one on the other side as well. Look, a nice bathroom. Multiple bunks. Another nice crew bedroom in there, crew room. And this way the hallway takes us to the walkway above the upper portion of the hangar and upper portion of the storage. Be front and back stuff. Then you notice our these little half round ventilators in the hallways. They look nice in the hallways there. Okay, and that takes us up to our stuff. So there is it's not massive amount of crew quarters on this thing, but it is well done and looks very nice. And as I said before, a lot of it for something like this, when you're talking about role play, is it really a vessel with a large crew, or is it a vessel with a small crew? There's we talk about science fiction. It goes both ways on whether a large vessel has a large crew or a small crew. So it can. It's hard to say, but they definitely had some nice bathrooms, nice bedrooms there. So it was the internals are not as plain as this on the outside. Is it just a basic, looks like a basic barge, but on the inside some nice internals going on there, some very nice deco work. Okay, the next one here is the JCS2 Space Travel CV Class 3 CPU T3 level 25, and come on, I want to post that there. And this is by Drogodon. I probably just pronounced it the same and didn't realize I did. Okay, and giving you the link to the Steam for that. Okay, Steam Workshop. There we go. And this, go back here, the JCS2 Space Travel. Now I want to say that they gave a bit of a story on their workshop page, but there was also some interesting the story on the, if I remember correctly, I think this is the one that they said they built it section by section in their survival game. And some of these people that pull off these wonderful, great details in survival, as impressive as that alone is, it was kind of interesting to read the okay. And this is one of the ones with no warp, if I remember correct, or no gravity, I should say. They built it a little bit. It has warp. That's one of the things they added on it and stuff. But I want to say that the unless one of these is gravity and I didn't realize it, I'm not sure how that's. There might be something on a motion sensor or something. I'm now messing with the things. Let's see. But you have the your standard basic group being here, and I'm not seeing a gravity generator. So yeah, it looks like there's no gravity on here. I'm going to have to do. I'm going to use God mode because it's a little quieter. Okay. Okay, so they have some beautiful texture work going on. But one of the things they said that they actually started with a basic blocks as if a base, and then continued to add from it until they added additional thrust, warp. So they built it little by little, for the various purposes and sections they added on to it. So as we look at some of this on this one, something to keep in mind is that eventually it started off as one thing and they grew and grew. I'm guessing things changed as they went as they grew it as well. But my guess was that it was either this area was the first box, the stuff, because this I was looking at. Okay, it has you have your one of the things I start with early on a base is I'm like, okay, the first thing I need is some sort of small constructor. Now I've started using a HV with a small constructor on it, the stuff, instead of using the base one, and then from that to leap to a large constructor. But the other things, I've definitely done a base where I've done the small constructor, then I use that to build the large constructor, and then the large constructor to build my deep base defenses and build capital vessels, small vessels, capital vessels, so forth. So so I'm like, okay, it's got the small constructor, large constructor going on here. Granted, this would have been upgraded to an advanced constructor, as you see, as I just saw. But stuff, and then there's some small containers early on, so you link that to the small constructor. So that's the thinking that maybe this is, granted you wouldn't have needed the CPU extenders, you wouldn't have had the necessarily starting off the materials for the CPU extenders, but you would have started off. This is what you'd start off here, these near your core. You'd have just a basic box for your base, and that stuff. Now, eventually, you have a repair station going on here, storage. But it's one thing. You have your basic box. You would start with a clone chamber very early on for a base, and then later on, when you get high enough in levels and stuff, then you can unlock the medic station. So again, this is my thought, my guess, is this is the first base. Especially when you have your fridge storing some of your food processor to make some of your medicines early on in the game. Between the small constructor, the food processor, you have your start of the game start. Now, if you were in single player, I think they said they did this in multiplayer. I think it is. So this would just be an add-on for role play purposes, and this definitely gets you your role play stuff. Sleeping quarters, bunks, stuff, a lounge, stuff. So you get some of your you have your bathroom and stuff. So you get your role play here, but that would make me think that that's what you'd add on that for the role play stuff. This would be the core basics minus the CPU extender. They would come later as you continue to expand the thing. But it's like this is my guess, your initial base. Then you have that role play stuff going on here. Okay, and then okay, that's right, no gravity. But once you get this into space, then you would have you're probably at that point you've got your space suit stuff. So again, it wouldn't be a big issue. You got your some table to sit at. This is certainly isn't a super fancy ship to live on, but it does have the sleeping facilities. It does have places for you to sit. Definitely has places for you to work and stuff. Then we have out here into HV. Well, that would be I think your SV landing pad. Some more medic station stuff. And then we have back here into our rear hangar stuff, which and this is probably where you bring your HVs with you. Stuff. Flux accelerator systems control. And I want to say that this was you really get a little more story with this, or not a big deep story, but a little story with this with the workshop page and stuff. So it was there is certainly some fun going on if you read some of these things stuff. Okay, so okay. So I went through, I made my guesses again about where the thing started. I'm making, I guess guessing it started there. This is when, as you expanded, at some point, you may have wanted some grow plots to build your, build your medicinals, or build, craft, ration packs, or whatever it is, and stuff. And I got myself turned around. I'm back in the hangar. So I think this thing I covered pretty much this one here. Kind of gave a some of my guesses on the story of this vessel, based off of what I recall reading and stuff. And then I was, like, okay, can I guess where this started? Where's the core? And then it expanded as they grew it, stuff. And then the story on their workshop isn't that story. The story for this vessel in the workshop is different. So that is its own story, which is kind of interesting, and that's the flux there kind of relate to that. Now mine over here, this is my entry to this challenge. Definitely well undersized class 10. I took the approach of if I put one of my vessels on there that was smaller, yes, as I said, you can make questions about what makes a valid crew for a ship. It can vary by even within sci-fi franchise. A small ship or a large ship might have a large crew, or might have a large ship might have a small crew or a large crew. It even within the same franchise, it can vary. It might depend on the nature of the ship. It might depend on the stuff. So it's kind of up to interpretation. So, but it's still that was the challenge, and so I went to well, why don't I, out of curiosity and for interest, I was like, why don't I go with one of my small ones I think might meet some of the looking like it has adequate facilities for its crew. In this case, a small ship with a small crew. So this is the Care. So it has mount points for turrets on there. The idea being they'd probably be automated turrets, because this is not a combat vessel. And the placement for the turrets really there is for gameplay purposes. Is that if I have this, that's right, no gravity on mine either. If this was functioning as part of a base, this would be the farm. But if it's functioning as part of a base, then I might want to throw some turrets up there as a base defense stuff. So, but this is a farm ship, a small farm ship. So we have 5 by 6, so only 30 plots. So that other one had 2 plots of 36 each, I believe. So 72. This has got nowhere near the farming of that bigger ship, that military research vessel. But this is just a small farm. I do have plans for larger farm ships. This is one of the things I've done with some of my vessels, as I've done, some farm ship. Now, unlike some of my other farm ships that may yet to come to stuff, this one has no warp. It will need to be moved by another vessel itself. However, with a small constructor on here, other than the fact that for the thrusters it's going to use some more advanced materials, it can function a little bit as a base itself. But yeah, it's got the small constructor and stuff. Not a very super fancy engineering room, but again, this is a small ship. This is a farm. This is not some sort of combat vessel. The little alcove here. This I would have liked to have carried this floor on through there, where someone else used it for a wall or backsplash sort of thing going on a wall. I used it for a floor. But it didn't carry through here, because unfortunately on landing gear, when you use a texture on one spot, the whole thing takes the same color and texture. And so I wanted the outside to be pink, which meant I ended up I think it was just the square underneath the food processor. So I ended up making the other square pink as well, so that the little alcove was consistent, and then really broke the alcove off by itself by doing the alternate wall texture there to just kind of make it into its own little thing. Despite being right here, so that the textures define it as a separate space stuff. But here I have a very simple. Again, it's a very idea. It's a very small crew on this farm vessel. Stuff. In fact, you can see bunking for 4, a very small crew. Idea being on this thing. So a crew of 4. I think they could all have dinner together on the benches there. That stuff. So the very small. We have our bathtub, shower, and stuff. So we have our basic amenities and stuff, and then we have a granted, you can pilot the vessel from here, but I've wanted to make it like as a small workspace, nothing fancy, nothing elaborate. Part of the reason why I threw another chair in here is just like 2 people working at this console, although one's really the pilot, one would be your navigator. I don't know. Your console here. This is actually just service space, fuel tank, and our wireless. And here we go. The stuff. I want to say that it's set to spawn in with those grow lights turned off and stuff. But yeah, it's a small vessel. In this case, is like small vessel, small crew, not very fancy. This stuff. This is a small farm, and so it is not some sort of luxury vessel in any shape or form. It's got a function it does, and that's what it was built for. So, and then you'd have to use it, dock it on, maybe on, if there's enough space on the top of that science vessel, or cover one of the hangar doors on the barge. That's something. I actually have my own vessel planned to be able to move this. That's got warp, and it's got a space to land and dock this thing. And then there will eventually be a various sizes, a smaller one, medium-sized one, large one, for moving this, because it's actually part of a series, in my case, of smaller vessels that may or may not have warp of themselves. But yeah, so I just went small. That's what I did for mine. Small vessel, small crew, not super fancy, but it's a small farm. May not make much practical sense, but some things in sci-fi are not always about being practical, and in this case, what would be the purpose of a small farm? Well, plants are typically, when we talk about sci-fi, a lot of sci-fi, it's the plants that are your air scrubbers and your deep space vessels. This could be that they service several planetary stations. Maybe they maybe they're setting down a farm on a hostile planet, and they're bringing in a fully functional farm as opposed to building one from scratch, and stuff. Just bring it in fully functional and land it on the planet, and maybe it never flies again. I don't know, but I had fun. It's a farm CV. So okay, well I think that's all the submissions, and hopefully the audio held, and will be there'll be actually you can hear me ramble and talk about things that again there's a lot of focus this time about the role play instead of talking about the details on the outside and the textures. I mean, there are some very beautiful things going on here, the stuff on the outside, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this stuff, just probably motivated that way because the nature of the challenge of stuff when they said role play. So I focused on that, and that's where my mind went with that. Well, have a good night, and I got my fingers crossed. Apparently picking up some static this time, so I'll have to listen to that, see how bad I think it is, that extra noise going on. Maybe another stream I'll borrow one of my kids' headsets and see if that has no noise, and if that's the case, I may have to look at replacing my headset. Maybe this. I want to say I got this headset about a year ago, so would have liked it to last a little bit longer. Maybe I'll look at a Bluetooth one next, so I don't have to worry about someone bumping the jacks on my computer case. Well, have a good night or good day. I'll be putting this over to YouTube, so it will be once I export it there, it'll be available a lot longer than Twitch will hold on to these for me. So have a good night.